Today I'm talking about smoke effects, one of my favorite subjects. I have some images here generated by AI, and it shows you the difference that a bit of smoke or haze in the air can make in an image. These are actually AI generated images, but the effect is the same. You can see in the bigger buildings the haze in the air making it look nice when the light comes in through the windows. And of course, whenever we have an actress walking past an old steam train, just by coincidence, the steam train pumps out a bunch of steam there, and there's a light in the background that silhouettes her and just adds to the image. And they always slow that bit down because it looks really good because of the smoke effects. We've got a dinosaur in the forest. There's always mist there. We have two Jedi battling with lightsabers. They always manage to cut through the wires or something like that to create smoke in the air to add to the effect. I've got this one image here of a man shining a torch in a street in the mist, and it adds to the effect that we have this haze in the air and you can see the torch beam. The very next image shows a man shining a torch down a street with his back to the camera on a clear night, and there's absolutely no atmosphere to the image because you can't see anything, you can't see the torch light or anything. And what better way when you've got a bit of sun breaking through the trees to add a bit of smoke to the scene to make it look like mist, make it look a lot better. I've experimented with quite a few ways to make smoke over the years. I tried these smoke pools. They don't burn very long, maybe close to 20 seconds, and they give a nice smoke, but not enough of it for my needs. So we move on to potassium nitrate smoke bombs. Very effective way of making smoke. And you can even make a miniature volcano. Just at a 200,000 volt Marx generator, and you've got some lightning in the background. We did a photo shoot at Bridal Veil Falls in New Zealand, and of course if you're working with potassium nitrate smoke bombs, you just have to be careful you don't set anything on fire. I always made sure that I lit them in a river, in the middle of a river somewhere amongst the rocks. It adds really nicely to the scene, and it's a really nice effect. The problem with these smoke bombs is they burn pretty viciously. Here's a test I did after making a batch of cooked smoke bombs where you cook them in a frying pan, you make like a syrup out of them, and it oxidizes the mixture, and it makes it burn really viciously. Here's another older video, low quality video of this similar photo shoot, and you can see how viciously this mixture burns, and of course it blows in the wrong direction. You've carried it all the way down there, and now you've wasted it because you didn't bring any extra with you. Here's another older video that shows with a dry mix. It burns a bit slower, but I'll put a ground spinner on top of it and it lit the whole mix at once. And it can be very hard to contain and control. And of course, Carl in the video here, a few years later, is still complaining about smoke in his umbrella. Just to show how powerful the potassium nitrate smoke bomb can be, I had about 3 or 4 kilograms left from that photo shoot, and I put it into a fire extinguisher and piled rocks on top of it so it couldn't take off because it sort of acts like a bit of a jet engine, and it was burning so viciously I had to grab my GoPro and run away with it because I was starting to worry that my GoPro was going to get melted. And you can see this cow on the hill that wasn't too happy with the photo shoot. Of course, when we're doing photos and videos, we preferably want a controlled release of smoke. And another attempt I had at making a slow release smoke bomb was with outdoor lamp fuel, outdoor torch fuel, mixed with potassium nitrate and sugar. And you can also grind a bit of candle wax into it as well to help slow things down, and it makes it nicer to pack into a tube. So you pack it all into this tube and you light it and get a couple of minutes burning out of it. Problem is you still get flames, and you don't want that everywhere you're going to be doing photo shoots. Here's the video showing it burning. You see those flames blasting out the top there. It's a nice smoke. It's got a bit of a smell to it. In a forest it would have a nice effect, but then we don't want that fire in a forest, so I ruled out those smoke bombs. Just another thing about smoke bombs and cooking them. I tried a 5 kilogram load of potassium nitrate and sugar with molten wax in it, and after I made the pot there's about an inch of wax still on the top there that hadn't gone into the mixer, so I thought I'd sort of heat it up again and melt that off again and pour that wax off the top. Of course my wife doesn't let me do this in the kitchen, so I went into the garage, put on a gas cooker, and I got a bit impatient and turned the gas up, and there was this massive explosion like a jet engine taking off. Unfortunately, the worst part is that I didn't have a video camera going. But just to illustrate what it was like, there's a video I did where I put potassium nitrate and sugar and a vacuum cleaner and threw some fireworks in it, and you can see what actually happens when the stuff fires up. And in this case there had a lot more oxygen because of the vacuum cleaner going, but it was a pretty vicious explosion in my garage. My garage was full of smoke. You can see where the garage door was above the mix, that big black and white patch that the jet engine burnt into it. I knocked it on the ground. I ran and grabbed the hose pipe. I put it out. There was still black smoke all over the garage. My Maori neighbour came outside and asked me what's going on, and I walked up to him and I could smell hair burning, so I grabbed this clump of hair on my head and threw it on the ground to put the fire out. I had molten wax all over my face, and I thought I need to find a slightly safer way of making smoke bombs. So one option for safer smoke effects is a stuff called atmosphere aerosol. It's a really good product, but a lot of my photo shoots and video shoots are outdoors. Here's some tests that I did in a forest where I tried spraying the stuff, and there's just a light breeze, and it didn't hang around for long. And if you've got a lot of money to throw around and you can take a couple of cans of these, it can add nicely to a photo shoot. It's very convenient and clean. Indoors it's really good, and it creates really nice effects, but I needed something that gives big smoke and readily available and doesn't blow up and put melted wax all over my face. So some people might say, well, smoke bombs are good, but I've got a couple of packs of them and they are nice, but I want white smoke, because smoke bombs are cool, but you can see they're not natural. You straight away know they're smoke bombs. I want something that looks like mist or fog or smoke or whatever it is. So I want something that creates white smoke. Introducing the insect fogger. These are made for killing insects. You're supposed to fill it up with poison and diesel and stuff like that, and you spray it into the bushes and it kills all the insects in the bushes. But if you instead put vegetable glycerine in it, or baby oil, or sometimes you can mix the two together, and it actually smells nice, creates really nice smoke, we have the almost perfect solution for creating lots of smoke. Got a video here of me starting it up and spraying it around. Here's a trick you can learn. When it's cold, you give it 2 pumps and then you fire it up, and you've got about 30 seconds or so before it heats up enough for the smoke to start billowing out, and you can actually set up your photo shoot, have it around the corner and start filming, and suddenly the smoke comes out of the corner. So that's a really handy trick to use when you're out in the field. I'll just mention that the vegetable glycerine in there is about 2 years old. It just doesn't seem to go off, and it doesn't smell too bad. As I say, you can always use baby oil as well. It's a bit of an expensive way to do it, probably not as safe to breathe in. It smells really good though. Here's another test I did with it in my backyard. They're just showing how much smoke and haze it produces. I took it with on a walk to a forest once, and there wasn't much air movement. It was really good. It caught the sun shining through the trees. A couple of kids going past, they wanted to get involved, so I managed to get in a bit of practice and get some cool effects with them in it. One reason I say it's not totally perfect is that if you leave it on high and that coil gets red hot and you forget about that, and after a while you go and you suddenly pump through it, it actually turns into a flamethrower. So just make sure you don't leave it going on high. It's good to put it on high when you start it up, but if you're not going to pump anything for a while, just turn it down or you end up with a flamethrower. Another cool thing you can do with it is a fake burnout. I got one of my mates to come around, bring his car, and we pumped it around the back of the car, and we got a couple of photos making it look like he was doing a burnout, and we had a bit of fun with that. And it's also something that you can take to a wedding. You know, you get the bride in the car or the groom and you set some photos up with him. I've got one of the groom sitting there like he's flooring at the bride with her foot on the front of the car, like she's holding the car back. And of course you can, on a video, you can add sound effects, make it sound like it's going, and as long as they can't see those wheels, people think that the thing's actually doing a burnout, and they ask you why you did something so dangerous. And you know, eventually you can let them know what you actually did, and they don't report you to the police or anything, which is always a plus. It's also always a good idea to make sure that people from the side of the road can see you. They can see that you're the one making the smoke. You're not hiding behind the bushes somewhere doing it and they call the fire department. But occasionally you'll get a time when people don't really know what's going on and they might come up and offer you a fire extinguisher, which happened with the one photo shoot.
Hey guys! You want a fire extinguisher? How do you do photos? Sorry, we had smoke for a while.
Now, no matter what you use for smoke effects, if you go out in the open on a windy day, it's just going to blow away. So my advice is go and find some trees. This one particular spot I went to had a nice little dip below the rest of the landscape, a lot of trees, and even when the wind was pretty strong on the day, it didn't blow the smoke away in that little forest. We got some really cool shots. I also learned that if you put a smoke bomb inside a contained area, it can actually produce some gases that makes it explode into flames. The insect fogger I've got has got this little white container in the front which is meant to be for water. When you're finished doing your insect fogging, you unscrew the thing, put the plunger into the little container of water, and you just pump water out. I've got a mixture of vinegar and water in there. It helps to clean it out really nicely. But you could also have some baby oil in there rather. And when you wanted to add some smoke with a nice smell to it, well, you just pop it out and you put it in there and you use baby oil. Well, that's it for today. As you can see, I like explosions and smoke and flames. If you want to see more of it, you're welcome to subscribe, and I'll keep you up to date with my projects in future.